Hey guys, welcome back to Quick Code. Today we're doing another Brainstellar quant puzzle. This one is called halftime. It's an easy problem of probability type. You guys can go over it. So just to give you guys a bit of background about the problem, we've been given two values. So the probability of one, this is 1R by the way, is 3 by 4. And we've been asked the probability of having an accident in 30 minutes, right? So just to explain a bit about this problem, first of all, one of the instant answers that comes to people's mind is that the probability for 30 minutes is 3 by 8. This is not the case. Usually the thinking behind this is that it is basically the probability of an accident happening in 1 hour divided by 2, since 30 minutes is half of the time of 1 hour. This is basically 3 by 4 divided by 2, which comes out to be 3 by 8. This is unfortunately not the correct way of thinking about probability. We can't simply just divide the probability by 2 over here. If we were to use the exact logic for finding out the probability of having an accident in 2 hours, that would just be 2 times 3 by 4, which would come out to be 6 by 4, which is a value greater than 1. And we know that probability of anything has to always be less than or equal to 1, actually greater than or equal to 0. But this is what we're violating over here, right? So it's a bit more tricky than that, right? Another hint, if you guys haven't been able to point that out by now, is that focusing on the statement over here, the probability of having accidents on a road in 1 hour, right? What it means over here is that the probability of having one or more 1 plus accidents in 1 hour is what it's given, right? So basically, and now what we've been asked is the probability of having one or more than one accidents in 30 minutes. So try to emphasize on the fact that we've been asked the probability of one or more than one accidents in the given time frame. So one standard way of going about this is to deduce that the probability of no accidents at all in 1 hour becomes 1 minus 3 by 4, right? It's basically the complement, which means 1 by 4. And let's just call this value x. Now, we also know that the probability of x is the probability of no accidents at all in the first 30 minutes multiplied, because so the second term is the probability of no accidents in the second 30 minutes, right? Now, these two events, the first 30 minutes and the second 30 minutes, these are basically identical. So that's why I've denoted them by the same value. Let's call that y. And there's a multiplication in between because this has to happen and this has to happen. So then, since we're ANDing both things, both events, we multiply the probabilities. We write down all of this. The x, which is the probability that there's no accident in 1 hour, is y squared, where y is the probability that there's no accident in a 30-minute duration. This basically means the probability of no accidents in 1 hour is the probability of no accidents in the first 30 minutes, and which means multiplied by probability of no accidents in the second 30 minutes, right? So since we know x is 1 by 4, we get y as 1 by 2. So this basically means that the probability of no accident in a 30-minute duration is 1 by 2, which means what we needed was a probability of one or more than one accidents happening on the road in 30 minutes. Comes out to be 1 minus 1 by 2, which is 1 by 2. The few points that you have to keep in mind are that you can't just do this over here, because over here we aren't really considering the fact that when it says the probability of having accidents on a road, we aren't really thinking about the fact that there could be one or more than one accidents, right? And it's giving the probability for that entire set. And another thing that we have to keep in mind is when we're defining the probability of no accidents in 1 hour and assigning it equal to the multiplication of the probability of no accidents in 30 minutes multiplied by the same thing. You have to keep in mind that since both of these events are independent and that both of them have to happen simultaneously, as in like one has to happen and the other one has to happen. So since we're using and over here, we have to use the multiplication. So these are the few points that you really have to keep in mind, and that's it. Thank you.